This is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast, where CEOs, senior leaders, and C-suite executives share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders know how to share their ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number 1. In a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
So, hey, Stacy, it's a pleasure being on here. So I'm Zain Hasan. I'm a serial entrepreneur, but right now what I do is my first venture. I had grown and started in 2014, bootstrapped it. Long story short, 2019, it was acquired by a private equity-backed platform backed by Kelso Goldman Sachs. And now I was brought in to be managing director. So I help companies reduce the cost of their health insurance and provide high quality, compliant, and cost efficient health insurance programs to employers across the country.
Well, that's amazing. We'll really look forward to kind of the varied experience you've had. I think that'll shine a different light on some of your answers and some of your insights today. So question number 2 for you, what's the best thing about leading people from your perspective?
So from my perspective, it's the actual ability that you have to help other people achieve goals and understand and realize the potential that they didn't know they had. It takes a lot of investment in those people and the genuine, authentic desire to see them succeed and get to know them on a personal level. When you can align a person's not only personality, but their individual purpose with either your company's purpose or a future, just a better understanding of who they are so they can align with. It may not even be your company, but it's the ability to truly lead them to a greater future than they would have had without you, whether that is or isn't a part of your company. And I think that's probably a key difference, is the fact that it's not focused on whether they stay with your company. You can help people achieve things that they would have never dreamed possible, as long as you don't limit it to what they can do in your environment, in your enterprise, or in your business.
That's really cool. I've been doing these interviews now for quite some time. I've done over 80 of them, and I've yet to hear that answer about really serving a greater good, a greater purpose beyond the organization, and being that steward for another individual. I love that. It's interesting. It leads me then to question number 3, and you might get a chuckle out of this one, is that I often hear from other leaders that business would be great if it weren't for that pesky people part. And I'm curious what your thoughts are about that.
I feel the opposite. I think that people, the intrinsic value that a human being can bring, is the only reason leadership is valuable, because my outlook is pretty simple. Think about every amazing company that started. It started with a couple of people, right? But as they grew, it's not those same people that started it that typically come out with the most innovative ideas. It takes a village. It takes a big group, a diverse group, to really create something meaningful that can be sustainable. And I think it's the value that anyone can bring when you're genuinely listening. It could be, a janitor that's coming in and have the best idea. There's so many different stakeholders and things, and businesses have to adapt. So to me, it is the value of the people. It's the human capital that you have that defines whether the business and leadership is enjoyable. And our role as leaders is to serve those people. So I look at it very differently. I don't think that the people are pesky or a hassle. I think it's part of the responsibility. And yeah, things have changed a little bit in terms of, as you bring in younger workforces, it's a little bit more of, okay, let's help make sure they're financially literate. It's not just business, but that makes it more meaningful. The relationships can be more meaningful.
Love that. So if you had a group of people sitting in front of you right now, a group of leaders, what piece of advice about communication would you share with them?
To me, it's really simple. It's communicate frequently. It's be very candid. I would say to me, it's the concept of looking at them and saying, okay, as you get to know each person as an individual, they have different goals, dreams, hopes. So don't look at them as objects to help you achieve a goal. Look at them as people. They have fears, they have dreams, they have desires. And if you can align and understand those people, then you can figure out exactly where they can play in your organization. Or if it's not in your organization, you're doing them a favor by helping them understand that as well. So to me, it's really an understanding of saying, it's communicate frequently. It's touch base one-on-one, and really get an understanding of who they are. Be vulnerable. Don't expect that. You don't have to be the one who takes credit for any of the things that happen. Give credit. I think you can go really far when you don't care who gets the credit. And it's really understanding that people don't live to try to help any individual company succeed. They live and they work for a variety of other reasons. If they're working and you can align them where they feel really passionate what they're doing, then you found something good. But that usually doesn't just come just because you hired them. You have a lot more to do in order than just hire them in order to get the best out of your people.
Okay, so this takes me to question number 5 then. You're killing it over here, Zain. Thank you so much for all your insights. So as we start to think about, what other Zains are out there that we should be paying attention to, right? Who else would you recommend? What other successful business leaders like you should we have on the podcast? Where does our network, how do we build out our network?
So I'll just share from my personal experience. I'm a member of YPO, Young Presidents Organization. That's probably been the most impactful in terms of finding other business leaders that have, it's got, I think it's 10 to 13 million in revenue required, and they have to be, the true leader of that organization. But even EO, which is a million in revenue or more. Those are the two I would say have the most, have the most potential and have the leaders that are willing to share, because a big part of those core organizations are to be very candid and vulnerable with one another. It's a confidential place for you to seek peer-to-peer feedback. I think you'll find there's such an abundance of impact-driven leaders and people-focused leaders that would be perfect for this podcast.
I love the way you say seek feedback, because again, the intention here is, are we proactively, creating an environment where we can learn and grow and, challenge ourselves, and that's part of the reason why I asked that question, to think about like who's in our network, who's in our sphere of influence already that we could be leveraging more intentionally. That's awesome. All right, bring us home, Zain. Last question, number 6 for you.
Yeah.
Tell us about your favorite boss or teacher who's really influenced you.
So it's a great question. It wouldn't be a boss or a teacher. It's been more of a mentor and peer. So I can call him, I would call him a teacher. And I think a lot of it was understanding their path, right? Because as you go through and again, this is all from my personal experience. And I like to say that because I think it's really important that I'm not giving advice. I'm just sharing my experience, and that may or may not relate depending on who the person listening is. But my personal experience has been the fact that my experience won't apply to everybody. But it's also been what has had the significant impact on me was it's an individual who showed leadership when I spoke to them every time. They had an aura around them that was very outward focused, an outward mindset. It's actually, in the focus being on understanding of because to me it's about how do I be the best husband, how can I be the best father, and how can I be the best leader. All of those are not, I'm not looking for financial reward. I think financial reward comes when you add value to other people. And this is a mentor that has brought that level of coaching to me, but it was through their experience. I just shared so much of it that I could relate to, where every time I talk to them, it allows me to understand without them even saying, I can see some of the things and hear some of the things that I need to do differently. A lot of it is focused around a book, and it's the Arbinger Institute, right? They wrote a book that is, now the book name is escaping me. It's Institute. It's called Self-Deception, Leadership and Self-Deception. And it's a consultant there. That's really the way I would describe and it's just because the Leadership and Self-Deception is probably one of the best books I could ever recommend anyone read, especially someone in leadership. But it's just someone who really embraces that mindset, which they refer to as an outward mindset.
That's awesome. I love that. And I know I definitely love to read, and I always love insights, from new authors and, content developers. So thanks for sharing that one. I'll definitely go check that out.
I apologize. I couldn't say the name just because out of respect for confidentiality.
Hey, no, I think, again, you gave us what we needed, and Again, the goal here is to challenge each other to think about things in a different way, and to hear what folks who are out there doing it right now, how are you going about it? What are you making it happen for yourself? So thank you for sharing some of those tips and insights. If somebody wanted to reach out and introduce themselves or learn more about you and your business, how might they reach out?
Sure, that's a great question. So they could reach out I'm on LinkedIn. It's Zain Hasan, so ZAIN HASAN. I imagine you'll probably share that information.
I will.
They can reach out on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and I'm pretty involved there. They can email me, or they can reach out directly to, and I can give you the number they can call if they're interested. They can learn more about the multiple ventures, whether that's risk strategies or the other ventures that we have, and any questions they have. I'm always looking to connect with other people. So, I hopefully no one's shy.
That's great. Well, good, and I'll definitely put all that in the description, so folks can find that directly when they check it out.
And thank you for hosting this podcast, Stacey, because that's part of the aspect of really, really bringing value. You're bringing a lot of value to a lot of people, and certainly you've gotten a lot of value through your podcast. So I appreciate being on here. It was a pleasure.
Well, thank you again so much. It's been an absolute honor, and we'll definitely have you back for a future episode. But in the meantime, this is Stacey McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast. For more ideas and insights, please do go check us out at www.concilioteam.com. And we look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care.